if these farmers exchanged only 200 shillings per meeting in one of the cooperatives. That is in one of my slides. I think we're going to see it. If these farmers exchange 200 shillings per month, we are going to realize a lot of money being exchanged. And in total, in the calculations that we did, Rimarida would exchange 7.2 million in 1 year. 7.2 million in 1 year. And this is the market we are saying that there is no bank that has been able to access to be able to exploit that opportunity. And that is why agroeconomics becomes the only direction that we as avocado farmers can be able to be empowered, because it is either we empower those participating in the value chain farm gate ahead, or we empower the farmers who are the foundational strong people within the value chain. Where are the points of involvement for maybe those who are here today? Training. These farmers would want, these farmers would require a lot of training, and we thank WeEffect for doing that for us. We would also want further research on whether, now that we have banks that have existed for more than 20 years, 50 years, and they have not been able to provide not a singular facility for an avocado farmer, what could be the bigger problem that we, as the agroeconomics protagonists, are not seeing? So there is an opportunity for research. There is also an opportunity where organizations who are seated here would come and maybe support these farmers with top-up fund for the VSLAs. Because the VSLA can only support the farmer to this much. If they would be supported, and if this farmer requires 10,000, instead of going to the bank and having an overloaded check from tea, from coffee, and also avocado, maybe we could have an answer to the bigger problem. And by the end of the day, the green in the gold will be enjoyed by the people who are working harder to ensure that the market, the value chain is stable. Thank you very much.
Let's give a hand to John. Yeah, thank you for the very insightful perspective from a farmer's point of view. We'll move quickly to Samuel Rono. Is he here? He's outside. Oh yeah, he's here. Yeah, Samuel Rono, please. Let's try and stick to the 10-minute. Let's try and stick to the 10-minute timeline. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, fellow evangelist on agroecology. If you can put the slides. Presentation, please. Yeah, that one here. Yeah, my presentation is about empowering farmer cooperatives for agroecological transition, food sovereignty, and building climate resilience. we'll be discussing about our approaches, success factors, challenges, and lessons learned in implementing agroecology in cooperatives. This is a case study that I am presenting on a program that we are currently implementing, funded by CEDA, called Livelihood and Right to Food Program. My name is Samuel Rono from Muifect. Next slide. Quite small. Yeah. So Muifect is a global development organization that is contribute towards sustainable and just world free from poverty. We strive to achieve that vision through implementation of mission that is supporting cooperatives, supporting member-based organization to achieve their dreams. We work with members who are women, men, and youth who are in poverty. Our goal is to ensure that we have our critical component is about climate change between that LRF program. So our goal under that is to ensure that farmers, the cooperatives we are supporting, are more resilient to climate change. Next slide. Okay, we have several methodologies on achieving our aspiration in terms of building resilience. We are using what we call agroecology, the one we've been talking about since yesterday. We have trained several communities, the TOTs, trainers of trainers on different agricultural messages, and these are the people or individuals who have been who are passing on the knowledge in different cooperatives and communities. We are also taking the holistic approach to food system. We are supporting through that LRF project the entire value chain, from production to the consumption. We also have mentioned about TOT approach, that which we've trained several TOTs on different agroecological practices, and they've been able to disseminate these practices in the field. We are also promoting carry out environmental and social impact assessment for all the projects that we are undertaking. We just to pick up to ensure that all the projects are not degrading environment, that they're not perpetuating inequalities. So we take them through environmental social impact assessment, and they come up with management plan on how to interact. So it's a bottom-up approach of picking what are the environmental issues, what are the social issues, and those informs action plans towards implementing the project. The also most important is climate justice. We looking at climate change also impact to other aspects of social, the inequalities, vulnerability, the poor. So we are looking at not climate change as an environmental issue, but also a social aspect. Next slide. So when you talk about sustainable agricultural land management, which are anchored on agricultural approach, those are this list of different practices that we pass on to the communities through the TOT approach. Next slide. Some of the success factors in promoting sustainable agriculture and management and agroecology is that we have seen it ensures sustainable agricultural productivity. It has also promoted food sovereignty and incomes in both in short term and long term. Yes, somebody in the morning presented that it's a solution for achieving food sovereignty and many other multi-benefits. Of course, it enhances climate resilience among the communities. We have seen farm communities that we are serving engage in different resilient activities that help them to adapt to climate change. It has also ensured biodiversity restoration and ecosystem balances through adoption of different practices like agroforestry, which we support them, issues of crop diversity, integrating of livestock together with other enterprise in their farms, has helped them to stabilize their ecosystems and also build their resilience. Of course, improving the soil health through various practices like composting, like using of cover crops, and also to improve the soil structure as well. Next slide. Through agroforestry, the agroecological practices, we have seen as an option, we have seen farmers really diversifying their enterprises. So it's an option for agricultural diversification, either crops, trees, and livestock. And we have seen several of our communities or farmers that we are supporting and venturing into different agribusinesses. It has also confirmed that it also lowered the cost of production, and also it has also promoted local knowledge in terms of sharing different experiences through our forums, and also it's a way of also addressing gender equality, because we have seen different youth, women in venturing into different agribusiness, and it really empower them economically. Next slide. The other success factor that we've seen, it has also improved market access and value addition. As I said, our support through that program is the entire value chain from production to the market. And we have seen innovation in terms of coming with value addition initiatives through their cooperatives, and they have developed products which are really geared toward the market. And if you go down outside there on the exhibition, you'll see several partners that we are supporting on. They are exhibiting different products, agribusiness products that are geared toward the market. Also, it has enhanced issues of research and innovation. We have seen different innovation in different issues that improve on market access and their livelihood. Interesting, we mentioned about agrochemicals. As we effect, we've shared with partners on the agrochemicals which have been banned in your market and even locally, and what is available locally. This we effect understand that the sustainable way to prevent and combat pests is not about using a pesticide synthetic. Is used to integrated pest managers a best way. And we share the list of, periodically we download, we go to EU portal, we pick the updated list of chemicals which have been banned, and we share with the partners. This ensures so that they also not in the mix in getting the farm inputs which are poisonous and toxic to the health and also to the environment. Yeah, we are also promoting through the program issues of recycling and circular economy through biogas, agricultural waste, converting, for instance, coffee husk into briquettes. This is one of the innovations to address firewood and also to address issues of circular and waste. Also switching to clean energy technologies like biogas, and I've mentioned about the briquettes. And those pictures is illustration of some of the intervention technology we are supporting. Also, there's issues of collaboration through agroecology. We've seen there's a lot of collaboration with other development actors, having a right organization like this, the Pelham, to share experiences on what is happening, successes, failures that we're going, and sharpening our skills towards promotion of agroecology. So agriculture has given that platform. There's also farmer-to-farmer knowledge. We facilitated through agroecology different demonstration farms on different activities in the to pass on the agricultural knowledge. Next slides. Lesson learned is that despite general lack of government support on agricultural practices, the practices is gaining recognition among the small-scale farmers, especially in Kenya and even in the entire East Africa. Also, we have not learned that cooperatives are also a very effective platform for mobilizing and scaling up adaptation of agroecology. We have also learned that the training of trainers, TOT approach, is also a quick solution. Government staffs are very few in the field. So TOT, which already find they have been able to pass on several messages in the field. There's also a willingness of the farmers to transition to agriculture, but they have limited resources in terms of knowledge to access the market. And policy support as well is a key challenge that help them, that is hindering them. Also, we have learned that critical factor is the private sector. Private sector will help a lot in actually implementing or scaling up agroecology systems and food system. In conclusion, I will say that I've underlined urgently. We urgently need radical transformation of agricultural food system. Last 2 years ago, we saw the midterm report from for sustainable development goals. All the goals have been retrogressed, has gone backward. All the targets is off. And through this radical transformation of food system, we'll achieve some of the goals like addressing no hunger. We also urgently need government support towards agricultural approach, and it's very crucial. We've seen lately policies which have been put in place, the bills, horticultural bills, livestock bills. Some of the bills, you look at it critically, some appear like the progress, but it's not a retrogression. Because when you say, for instance, you need to register as a farmer, you are required to register to grow vegetables or horticulture. What does it mean? You need a license, and that license doesn't come free. So I think some policies are not in support of the government, of the farmer. It's actually retrogressive. So we need policy support, and this should be a call of action urgently to support agroecology. We are also facing impact of climate change as part of the food system, and so we also call about collaboration and to bring about transformative that the world needs. Yeah, thank you, and we need agriculture right now, not tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Let's give him a hand. And as he leaves the stage, let's welcome Hosea to close the presentations for this session.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Seems we are tired, eh? Thank you. Okay. My name is Hosea Kandagor. I work with the IPSIA. IPSIA is an Institute of Peace, Development and Innovation, and I come from Laikipia. We are based in Laikipia Permaculture Center. Most of you have heard of Laikipia Permaculture Center. Is a long-term member of PELAM. And so we are members of PELAM. My presentation is going to be more of a conversation with us. So let's relax. It's not very academic. Yeah? See, people are tense, so it's between lunch and this presentation. My topic is on finance, and I'm diving directly to climate finance for agroecology. And I have a few questions for us. How many of us know the names of our MCS, where we come from? Okay. How many of us know the names of their ward administrators? Majority, eh? Almost half. How many of us have ever tried to find out what is climate finance? or they've even had a little bit of climate finance in their day-to-day activities. Interesting. A majority of us are not familiar with that, meaning we might, I don't know if we are familiar with the National Climate Change Action Plan for 2023 to 2027. Not really. Even for us who have had finances, climate finance, the answer went down. So I look mainly at, and I'm very happy because the previous presenters have touched a little bit on elements which I'm going to look at, and it will make it more easier for me to explain. The picture you're seeing on that slide was taken some few years ago when a group of indigenous women visited Isiolo, and they asked me, what is agroecology? And that was around 2016-17. That was a very big question for me, because I was asking myself also, what is agroecology? And today we are happy because we are having our first National Agroecology Conference. Isn't it not good? Yeah? Let's clap for ourselves. It is a journey that has taken time, but the right time is now, because it is a coincidence because this year Conference of Parties is discussing climate finance, and we are looking at even the previous presentation saying climate finance need to go to the people. Isn't it? Agroeconomics said the money is not at the farm going backward, it is at the farm going outside. That's where there is more money, but we need to transform that narrative and put the money in the pockets of the farmers. And how best can we do this? Next slide. I did a little bit of, I was asking myself when I was preparing for this research is, last year, Kenya had a very serious drought. And for us in the northern landscape, we really suffered because it was one of the worst droughts after 5 consecutive seasons. And unfortunately, 6.4 million Kenyans were food insecure, acutely food insecure. Even now, as we are speaking now, data is that 1.8 million people are food insecure as we are in this national conference today. When I looked at the report for drought response plan for 2023, which was budgeted at $452 million, with the donor countries like USA contributing 250 billion shillings towards it. And when you look at that, you would wonder how much do we need for climate, for agroecology transition? That was the biggest question I have had. I was asking myself. And I went further to look at one of the biggest projects we have in Kenya now. This is financing locally led climate actions. Have we heard of this project? Famously going by the word FLOCA? Not yet. We are a little bit familiar. This project is aiming to pull, next slide, if you can rush to then to slide with the next, 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 next. I'm rushing through these slides. These are just definitions for climate finance. Next. Next, when you look at financing locally led climate adaptation, it's a very bold initiative by the government and the partners to look at how can we devolve climate finance. And we are basing it on 8 principles, that is locally led adaptation principles. And this is one of the topmost principle is localizing decision making at the lowest level possible. Next. 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 Yeah. Next, the principles. This one is, as I've just said, they were looking at, they are trying to mobilize 1 billion shillings towards between now and 2030. Next. And this one is looking at how best can we devolve, as we are all participating in devolved system currently. Next. Yeah. And the 8 principles are quite clear, making decisions. And these, I found this very interesting because they are in sync with agroecology principles. When you look at the 13 agroecology principles, decision making is at the local lowest level. Next. And priority areas for this climate finance, agriculture being one of it, it's very key. As we all know that Kenya is an agricultural-based economy, and the other sectors which are also speaking to what we are talking in this conference. Next. So when you look at the principles of locally led adaptation, locally led actions, and when you look at also the principles of agroecology, the 13 of them, I found them to be very, very in sync. And looking at innovations coming in from the communities, we are looking at one very interesting innovation called Village Saving and Lending Association. This is a very powerful tool, as farmers from Muranga just attested now, innovating around how can we have avocado farmers earning more money. This is a grouping of farmers or women coming together on agreed timelines to meet and discuss their issues of money. Apart from saving, agroecology discussions take place. Apart from agroecology discussion taking place, we also have conversation around county budget making processes. How do we have conversation around legislation at the county level? And these are conversations happening as low as the group level. And this very powerful tool has been able to transform groups from just an individual group to forming a network of women demanding their rights and demanding their rightful share in these budgets. And for the case of financing locally led action, which is a big fund, is that women were able to sit and mobilize their own members to take up leadership positions in making decisions with regards to climate financing. And we saw them occupying seats in ward planning committees. And these ward planning committees were the very strategic platforms established by the act, by an act of law at the county level, to decide what projects are going to get funding. And we find this very innovative. One, now funding is going to go to the right projects. We are all coming from Kenya, where we know if you are not on that table, what happens? They will decide for you. So if we have the right people at the table for deciding climate finances, it would be much easier to shift that funding to support agroecological discussion. And one of the biggest successes which we've had so far is women now are able to participate even in other donor-funded projects linking climate finance to their own local actions. And I found this very interesting, and we pick a lot of lessons, and it's now being replicated across other regions. We've seen more farmers and networks coming up and developing very good projects which are founded on agroecology principles, trying as much as possible to access climate financing. And the most interesting part also is having conversations around more complex topics like carbon credits. Thank you very much, and I wish this triggers more conversation. And if you have more questions or curiosity, let's have this discussion going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hosea. Can we give him a hand? Yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have come to the end of the presentations. So just before I open the floor for questions, to recap, we had the first presenter talking about the private sector financing. And as we know from her presentation, this is key to key to supporting key stakeholders towards realizing the agroecology transition for food systems to be effective. That was followed by a farmer perspective from John, who shared with us some financing models that enable farmers to access finances towards better markets for their produce. This was followed by Ronald's presentation about farmer empowerment, whereby the methodologies and approaches being used to empower farmers to be able to participate effectively in agroecological transitions towards food system transformation. And finally, we just had a talk from Hosea here, who's told us the importance of climate finance, because as we know, climate change does affect productivity in general. So the aspect of climate finance is very, very important, and it's something that stakeholders really need to put focus on and repurpose their finances towards that particular initiative. So with that said, I think I would like to open the floor for questions. At any order, anybody with a question, we can start with you. Oh, yes. So when you ask the question, just direct it to the theme, so they can respond to it. Or maybe you can ask and then we take 3 and then they respond and we go back to more questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Anthony Kowiti. I work for ISFA, the Intersectoral Forum on Agrobiodiversity and Agroecology. I have 2 questions. I would like to direct them to Bwana Hosea. Setting up the pace for your presentation, you started with the MCA name and the ward admins. So maybe just to give and elaborate on the role of ward admins in FLOCA. My second question is comes to this one I'm addressing to all audience. Each county, we have 47 counties in Kenya, and each county normally have county annual development plans. Let me call them annual plans. And for your role in public participation, it's very key to participate and integrate aspects of agroecology. Because I'm tying that to the first question, the role of ward admins in FLOCA. And it's very key for us as wananchi to know how this money are flowing down, trickling down from the county government, because the governor has a key role in this, and also ward admin. Thank you.
Thank you for all the presentations. My name is Wanjiru Kamau. I'm an agroecology and policy consultant and a member of the ISFA platform. I have at the moment 2 questions directed to John Wangeshi of Agroeconomics. One of having interacted with farmers from Murang'a County, one of the challenges I find they have is theft of their avocados. Probably from unemployed young people, or what are farmers doing? How are they supporting farmers, or how are farmers coping with this? Because it's also leading to losses of their fruit. Secondly, whereas cooperatives are a good model for supporting farmers' initiatives, many of them in Kenya, they have a history of being of poor management, of people hanging on to those chairs and swindling farmers of their hard-earned resources. How is this cooperative system going to be different? What structures are there in place to make sure there is accountability and transparency, just so that farmers have confidence in them and they support them in the long run? And finally, I didn't hear much about, I heard a lot about the production end, but also the market end. I didn't hear, are farmers going to actually look for markets themselves, or you're going to work with other service providers to link them with markets? I would like to hear more about the marketing end of this model. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those insightful questions. Okay, one more, then you can answer.
Yes, thank you very much, the presenters, for presenting.
My name is Colin Sobiambo from Sida, and my question is going to the Agroeconomics guy. I wanted to
show very well the current situation and also the ideal situation, and you also gave us the reason why the gap is there. And you, I think, from my understanding of your presentation, is that the VSLAs are like one of the solutions that you're using to address that gap. But are there any other interventions that you have been able to identify that you can use to bridge this gap? That's my question.
Okay, let's respond to the three questions. I'll give it to John first, and then you can go to Hosea.
Thank you very much. My name is John, like I had mentioned, and I will just go direct to the few questions that have been directed to the agroeconomics concept. Yes, we are also aware of the major challenge. Theft is one of the biggest challenges. And agroeconomics is not directly going to solve the issue of theft. We have laid other mechanisms that are assisting the farmers in relation to theft. But indirectly, agroeconomics will be working towards empowering these farmers. And if these farmers are empowered, they will get a voice. And in most cases, when we discuss the issue of theft, the farmers discuss on availability of market. Because when these young people go to the farms, they sell to ready market. Therefore, if this farmer is empowered, and some of the policies that we have assisted the farmers to develop, they are also in Murang'a County Assembly, only an empowered farmer can be able to support himself, both in terms of taking care of the shamba and also in terms of helping the administration implement the policies that have been set. So the issue of theft is there, but the biggest problem is the availability of this market. And especially for those who are selling to those who are value adding. In Murang'a, we call them kamiri. When the women say kamiri ne kahi goro, means now that is the beginning of the theft spree. The other question is in terms of cooperatives. And Murang'a had a union some time back, and we are now in a union. And we find ourselves answering that question many times, because the union that was in coffee, we are given stories about how it used to lead to the government. And then, due to poor management, the union came down, and many farmers lost their money. We have been working so hard, and we thank WeEffect for supporting management trainings. We have had management trainings from boards, training them on compliance, and also the same empowered farmer would be able to ask questions when they are invited for their MIDs, for their AGMs. So for the cooperative, we have a compliance rule where if a cooperative chairman is not working towards ensuring that the cooperative is compliant, then we have legal action that would be taken on behalf of the farmers. And in addition to that, the cooperative ministry in Murang'a especially, having had history of a foreign union, they are also keeping watch in terms of the leadership that is available there. Where are we going with the agroeconomics agenda? Currently, Murang'a Avocado Union owns 2-acre land, and we have been supported by World Bank to build a pack house. And through WeEffect and other development partners, the farmers themselves are able to access market. And I believe through other support, we shall get certification. So by next year, April, the farmers will be selling their fruits directly. And that is now the answer to the final question, that the 90,450, agroeconomics will not solve that directly, but these empowered, because we are opening up a pack house, therefore this pack house would require fruits from an empowered farmer. We do not want to be a marketer joining other marketers who are currently not supporting farmer empowerment. So we empower the farmers, we buy fruits from empowered farmers, therefore we shall reduce the disparity between 90,000 and 450,000, which is the ideal situation for an avocado farmer. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Over to Hosea about the word and climate finance.
Thank you very much, Owiti. I'm also a member of ISFA. That's a very interesting question, because I started asking if we know our word admins. For this particular case I took, is a public fund, it's a public finance, and they are looking at legal structures in place. And for us who are familiar with the processes, every county now has a legal framework, either by an act or policy, touching on financing, touching on climate change adaptation, climate change actions at the county level. And for this model, for these FLOCA funds, they use those existing legal structures to support, to be the final one at the ward level, because those are the lowest level that exist as at now. Or I've seen some wards also developing the village level, but not yet so much vibrant. So our current devolution ends at the ward level. You will find that now ward planning committees are the ones who are the final level structures of the ward. But the main aim is to look at how the lowest level possible in the county. So you will find the ward admin playing a very critical role representing the county government, as well as in other areas, depending on the act in place in your county, you will find the ward management committees in place, and there are various members. Others are 11. We're looking mainly at 11 and to 15 member committee. And just to add on that is, this is one example of a climate fund. There are several others existing in place. And when Rosina was presenting earlier, he said that money is not going to agroecology because maybe we are not organized. And the same way for this World Bank funded project, they went to the existing structure, which is the ward level. If there were any other better structures, it would be much easier to reach those levels. But now the biggest part is, how do we build our organization as agroecology people by having movements who are able to tap on those available climate finances. And I really appreciate the work which is going on with the Action Aid by building voices of women and putting women together to take lead in these processes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John and Hosea. Katika sehemu hii, swali joto, any hot question this area? One question, okay?
My name is Eugene Dwiga. I am a member of ISFA and also I'm a farmer. I run an SME called Farm Share Kenya Limited and deals with agroecology, farming from farm to market. is about this financing for agroecological initiatives. And we got from CGR that they have an accelerator that has supported 3 companies in Kenya. But what you would see like in this room is all of us are in one or the other
climate crisis through
practicing
agroecology, because at the end of the
And
day,
all
as much
those
as
initiatives,
agriculture
all of us
they have been
need some
contributing to climate
support
change,
of one
we
kind or
have
the
to eat,
other
and
in
we have to
agricultural
do this in a
financing.
sustainable.
If you remember, if you look at the SDGs, the last SDG is partnerships. Of course, that was the same case with the Millennium Development Goals. So partnerships is a running theme across creating greater and sustainable change across. So I'm asking, what other initiatives or efforts are there that would support a wider number of initiatives that are directed towards, perfecting, creating impact, reaching a greater number of people, so that it's not a few that are benefiting, but a number and the majority that are involved in this space get some support of financing or other means of support, not necessarily financing, so that all of us, in our own way of doing our own small solution. As we have said, there is no size fits all for those solutions, so that we are able to support in one or the other across the board in a greater manner, so that then you'll be able to create a greater impact across the agroecological space. I don't know whether there are such efforts that we are not so minute in addressing, but we more or less involve most of those actors that are in agroecology. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll respond shortly.
Don't miss out.
Private
Register today and help
this,
shape
one question
a
from this section.
sustainable
Just one question.
future for Kenya.
Yeah.
Together,
None.
we
Okay,
can
the last one there.
cultivate change.
I said my question to the avocado farmer from Moranga. I've been thinking about selling avocado as a raw product, whereby value addition has not been done, anything has not been removed. Do you normally see a scenario whereby you are selling 3 in 1 and probably at a cost, and probably you are winning farmers a lot of innovation, a lot of ideas, because I'm thinking about the skin of avocado. I'm thinking about the seed. I'm thinking about the fresh. How can you be able to be innovative enough whenever you are selling avocado, you are selling one part at a cost, other than selling the whole fruit in the one cost, which means probably the production cost has not been well covered.
Thank you. So I'll give it first to the private sector finance, and then we'll finish off with Mr. Avocado, after which we shall be breaking for our lunch.
Thank you. I believe that was not just my question, but perhaps a question to us all. Yes, it's not about, we can't say that we are not doing agroecology. It is to what extent are we doing? Because even those who are doing conventional farming, if you go with the B-Act tool that I mentioned to start assessing their level of agroecological integration, you'll find that there's some level of agroecology implementation, except the variation is to what degree. Are there, for example, funds or institutions or initiatives that are specifically supporting more private sector engagement? The whole reason we are discussing this is the fact that there is less money that is going into such initiatives. And so as stakeholders, we need to look at what other bigger ways can we promote financing of agroecological financing. The CGIAR is just doing a pilot. It is the beginning. We don't know what holds in the future, but there are also these other small, for example, small I'll say, initiatives like the Agroecology Fund. But then they also have processes in which they disburse these funds. They just don't come and identify, okay, so you're doing agroecology, I'll support you. Like for Accelerator, you have to keep watch what is being advertised out there. Because like for us, we sent out a call and many organizations applied. And then we selected based on certain criteria. And I believe there are some other institutions who are also doing that. But also for the Accelerator, remember these are more like pilot initiatives to test what can work and what perhaps cannot work. So I believe perhaps with such forums, with such discussions, there'll be more money being directed towards agroecological initiatives, but we just need to agree how and perhaps when.
Thank you very much for that. And finally, John.
Thank you very much for that question. In every sector, in every value chain, there is a question of value addition. The current state we are in avocado farming, the best level that would give the farmer more money is the green fruit. Our research shows that we are not yet, as Kenyans, controlling the international market. There are other players. And I'll give an example with what happened with macadamia last year and last year but one. When we sat back and did a law that would deny exporters to export the hard-shelled macadamia, I know most of us bought macadamia at 20 shillings in the market. Because now the controllers of the market now give embargoes to macadamia coming from Kenya. So currently, we are not in control so much of the international market in terms of the value-added section of the avocado. And also, if you do value addition, because we also are in agreements with companies that are doing value addition, the amount of money that would go to a farmer who links himself to a person who is value adding would be less than the amount of money the farmer would get if he or she went direct to the green export fruit. Because, for instance, a kilo going for oil would be between 20 shillings and 36 shillings. But an export kilo would go to between 80 shillings and 150, the same fruits. So in our research, we are calling the value addition section now for our own consumption as post-harvest loss, because the fruits that go to oil are the fruits that would not go to the export. So we are encouraging every farmer who is into the avocado farming, farm with export of the green fruit in mind. But even if you don't export, that is in case there are losses due to insects and others, you would now go to value addition. But more research will still be done, and we believe by the end of the day, we will have an opportunity to control the market for what we produce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You have something pressing, Jose?
I like the question coming in from for finance and looking at how do we divide money, how do we access money. And my answers were very close to what Rosina was saying. But I would like just to add that a conversation is going on how do we have agroecology at landscape level, not just farm level. So it is a call for us to have conversation beyond our farms. How do we link up with our neighbors, having a mosaic landscape who are doing agroecology and trying to access climate financing at that landscape level? And also being in a movement to influence some of this funding, because at times these monies are political and it needs our voices to shape how it's going to go out to our projects.
Thank you all very much, as you heard, and thank you for gracing this occasion, that financing mechanisms and market structures are very critical for ensuring that there's an agroecological transition towards food system transformation. With that, I'll conclude there and hand over back to the MC to Carry on. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you. Let's give him a hand. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. We apologize for the confusion because we were meant to segue right into the other parallel sessions, but it wasn't clearly communicated, and I apologize for that. So what we're doing now is going to break for lunch, and as we did yesterday, we're going to have meal cards handed to you at the exit, either here or there, but mostly here. So let's go through this entry or exit and get our meal cards. We'll have lunch where we had yesterday, Rupee restaurant, and we'd give 1 hour for that. And then this session that was meant to follow immediately after will then be the first thing to start with after lunch. So just to be clear, and for those who are in this room, parallel session 5 will be here at the auditorium. If we could refer to the booklet, there's just a correction that it will be in the auditorium. In the booklet, it's written room B5, but that has changed. So parallel session 5, auditorium, and that is agroecology practices for climate resilience. Parallel session 6, agroecology practices for climate resilience as well, will be room B8, first floor. That block, B8, first floor, it's indicated. Parallel session 7, women and youth in agroecology. That will be room B10, second floor, that block. And parallel session 8, women and youth in agroecology, room A100, so it's outside this auditorium, and straight on as if you're going to the reception, but to the right, that is room A100. So please refer to this booklet, but the room has to be well identified. At least all remains the same, but the first one, parallel session 5, it will be here, not room B5 as indicated. So I hope that's clear. I apologize for the confusion, but right now as we head out, let's get our meal cards so we can have access to Rupee restaurant and enjoy our lunch. It's 2:12. So let's be back at 3:15. According to the indication here, let's reconvene in the rooms at 3:15. We could either come here first, but that will be using time, not in the best of ways. But according to your interest, and mind you, every one of these sessions is being recorded, so we will all have an opportunity to utilize that content later.
Join us for the first National Agroecology